Could I have done these on regular paper that wasn't ugly? No, probably not. Newsflash, your notebook and your journals are meant to be messy. Write everything down, ruin it, and then after doing that, you can understand yourself. So I got a lot of comments on my last video from people asking about like advice on how to keep a commonplace book or like a journal and be okay with it being messy because they have like anxiety about ruining a really pretty book. And I understand that because I used to be that way, but I think you have to break out of the mindset because if you don't, you'll actually never get ideas down fast enough if you have to like slow yourself down in order to like write it down in a neat format or like format it nicely. You need to figure out a method that'll like allow you to overcome that block and allow you to be okay with chaos in your notebook. Overall, I think that'll make you more productive and it'll also make you more creative and produce better and a greater quality of work. So I recommend getting an ugly notebook, one that's actually ugly. So not just like a cheap notebook. It should be very, very cheap, but also very ugly. So you should go to the pound store, go to the dollar store, and then get one of the ones with the really tacky covers or really bright covers. So the reason you want it to be ugly is because you have to actually like have attachment to the thing, because if you think it's a little bit ugly, it makes it better because it actually encourages you to like break it in, right, and like ruin it, because anything is better than the tacky cover. So what you're gonna do after you get your really ugly notebook is you're gonna customize it. So you're gonna get some tape, some duct tape, painter's tape, whatever. You're gonna go over the top of it and you're gonna cover it up. And because it's so ugly, right, you're not gonna be worried about ruining it. So like if your lines are wonky or like you cover it weird, it's not gonna matter because anything is gonna be better than the cover. That's the goal. So you want to ruin it, right? And you're gonna make it better. So try and like cover up all the ugly parts of the notebook. And then after you've covered up the ugly bits, you're gonna now customize it. You're gonna draw over it. You're gonna use stickers, ribbons, markers, anything. You should use shapes and colors that you like, obviously. A weird idea is you can go to the supermarket and you go to the fruit aisle and then try and steal all the fruit stickers off the fruit and then stick that onto your cover. My favorite artist, Claire Wendling, does this. Look at these. Yeah, she's my favorite illustrator of all time. And it's so good. Such a funny idea. You should try that. And then after you customize it, you're gonna write your name on it so that it's identifiable, or don't. You can draw on top of it. People say that they don't like to draw or like they don't like their drawings. If that's so, you can just print like pictures off the internet and like stick them on top of your notebook, or like cut them out of magazines, or like even just like wrap it in newspaper, right? Like anything interesting that's not the cover is gonna be preferable to the cover. And then once it's customized, it's already gonna feel more personal to you, and then you're gonna feel more comfortable throughout the entire book to actually use it properly without having it be pristine, because it's already not going to match the aesthetic on the cover, which is that it looks a little bit janky. So this is a notebook that I got at Lidl, and as you can see, it's Harry Potter themed. It has a Harry Potter cover, and I thought it was really ugly, but I used it and it's one of the best books that I've ever had. As you can see, the marker is kind of fading away, but I basically scribbled on the top of it to hide the Harry Potter. You can probably see that. You see the broomstick. And then on the front, I like taped it over with tape, like white duct tape. So you can see that there. You see it very obviously on the inside that it is Harry Potter themed. This is the notebook that I used throughout my last year in school. So this is my law school notebook. This is my law school notebook. And if you see these like little scribbly bits, it's because there's the Harry Potter symbol on the bottom of every page. And so sometimes if I feel the need to, I'll just scribble it out. But yeah, this book was sick. I carried it for a long time. I wrote a lot of notes in here. I would do these in class or just in, whenever I had the time. And I made a lot of art in here that I really like. And I think I couldn't have made it if this was a nicer book. This is one of my favorite pages. This is a Sylvia Plath poem on the side. I don't know why I wrote it like this, but anyway, that's why it's all smushed down here. And then this is a drawing I did. This is another one that I really like. I did this on the plane, actually. I was traveling back to London and I did this on the plane. By the way, if you want to purchase any original art, I actually sell a lot of that on my coffee shop, which you can find. Could I have done these on regular paper that wasn't ugly? No, probably not. Okay, maybe I could have done these, but I did them here and it's more fun that way. Because you don't expect it. Like if you use like a cheap notebook, you don't expect when you make something that you're proud of, right? And it's not like I had to sit myself down at the table and take take out the nice, beautiful, acid-free card paper, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna draw something now, and then it needs to be good because I'm using the nice paper and it was very expensive, right? It just builds up a lot of pressure on yourself, and then even if you produce good work, you didn't really enjoy the process because you were so panic-stricken the entire time. But if you're drawing in here, it's like absent-minded, right? You've got some notes on the side, you have some like scheduling, and then you do like a little doodle, and it turns into something that you actually like and that you're actually proud of, and you finish it and you're like, wow, that was really cool. And I mean, you can see all the little notebook lines in the back, and I mean, yeah, that's kind of annoying, but like you could have gotten one without the lines, then you wouldn't have that issue, right? Or not. I don't think it, I mean, yeah, it's kind of annoying, but like the lines don't really take away from the drawing itself. It's still visible, you still understand it. So after you've customized the cover of your book, you're gonna get your book and you're gonna ignore the first page, you're gonna ignore the first 2 pages. And the reason why is that if you don't draw on the first 2 pages, for some reason, these are always the most pressure-filled spots in the book because it makes you feel like it sets the tone for the entire notebook, right? So like the pressure is huge to like not mess it up. So if you start on the second page, for some reason, even though technically it's the first page because it's like the first page with like markings on it, it's like way less pressure filled than starting on this page, and I don't know why that is, but it just is. So try that, or you can start writing from the back. So start from the back and move to the front, and then as long as you like make a mark, you can use the front again, and I don't know why that is. It's like a psychological thing. Or you can like jump around and start in the middle and then use random pages, but that's actually crazy and that's actually chaos, and if you can do that convincingly, you don't really need this video anyway, right? So a tip I have for if you feel self-conscious, if you don't like your writing, you don't like your drawing, you don't think it looks nice, and that's why you can't do it, a tip I have is to actually make your pages fuller. So like it seems contradictory, right? Because you're like, I don't really like my work, why would I make the pages fuller? But the thing with like, if you write more or you draw more and you just cram more things on the page, for some reason, even if you're like dissatisfied with your own work, you can kind of trick your brain into replacing quality with like quantity, and it'll actually look better. So like if you cram more stuff on the page, for some reason it'll look a little more cohesive and it'll look more pleasing to the eye. And it's because like if you have like a little half drawn thing, so like pages where there's lots of like blank space, this is always gonna look worse than like this where there's more stuff, like it's more centered and stuff. So even though like the quality of like your handwriting or like your drawing is the same, this is always gonna look better because it looks more full. That's why drawing like a tiny thing on like a large piece of paper is always gonna look worse than if it's like filled to the frame, right? And that's just because of like basic composition. That's why photographers are like always telling you about like framing, and they go crazy about framing and like angling your shot and making sure it's perfect. And that's why it's important to like know how to use space, because then you're working with like the frame of your notebook, right? That will already set out a nice format for you, and your eye will be like, oh cool, that looks nice. So the same thing can be said for journaling, because this is also visual. Your notebooks are meant to reveal yourself, and you can only find that if you allow yourself the freedom to be messy and disgusting and expressive in them in order for that to happen. And if you're not cutting every thought short because you're trying to format it nicely, like the flow is going to be gone. Your work also doesn't have to be complete in order for you to enjoy using it. And I mean, if you're drawing something or you're writing something and then like halfway through you don't really feel like finishing it anymore, you can just stop. Incomplete works are actually really important for like knowing yourself and becoming more creative in general, or like as a person. If you want to hear more about that, then